Hi guys, you're watching another episode of Wolfpack and you're here with Yahya and Faiq. Faiq, how's it
Yo,
going, bro?
good. How's it going with you?
Yeah, it's going right as well, man. I'm just
Yeah,
tired from like training and stuff for the last couple of days, but everything else is good.
good. Seems like you're enjoying
Yeah.
sun.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I came straight from work just to get the sun, just to get the sunlight, and
Nice.
then
That's
just
good.
sitting in the park. It's gonna spend most of my day here.
Nice. That's good.
Okay, let's move to UFC 315 post fight. Man, told you guys what's gonna
Yep.
happen. And I'm
Yep.
telling you for the
Yahya
last
predicted
two,
it.
yeah.
Even I
And
didn't
for the
see it
last
coming.
two cards, I think nobody actually saw it coming. And for the last two cards, I've been getting every single prediction right. Like on the last card, we talked about like we had two predictions. I got them right. And this card, and this one, by the way, let me tell the viewers something actually about this one. Jack Della
Mm.
Maddalena was not even close to getting a title shot. It was going to be Shafkat Rakhmonov. He was going to fight
Yeah.
Bilal. Bilal pulled out of the fight first, and then Shafkat had to fight Ian Gary. And
Mm.
then Shafkat pulled out, and then Bilal had to fight Jack Della Maddalena. That's when they actually announced the name. So he was not even in the title picture. And before all of this actually happened, I was the guy who actually made a video months ago when I was going through all the contenders, and Jack was not even known to be like everybody knew how talented he was, but nobody actually thought he could get a title shot or he would have chance against like Bilal, right? Because he was
Yes.
getting taken down repeatedly by Gilbert Burns. But I was the one who predicted it. I went through every single opponent in the welterweight division, made up like a 1 hour video, and I said Jack Della Maddalena would be the hardest fight for Bilal Muhammad in the
Mm.
division. And then I might actually post that prediction as well. And he turned out to be the hardest fight.
Damn, that's crazy. You guessed it all right. How long was this ago? Was it a couple
That
months
was
ago?
months ago. That might be like 8 months ago or something like this. So that was before
Damn,
Shafkat was supposed to fight Bilal
that's
first time.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
A- And what did you think of the fight itself?
Bro, I think it was amazing. Number one, I was impressed with Jack's defense. It's incredible. I didn't expect him to defend like that. And even in clinch work, I know Bilal couldn't take him down, but he was holding what you call a jack against the cage, right? In clinch,
Yeah.
he was doing pretty well. Even there, he was doing pretty well, which is pretty impressive. And yeah, I think Jack was most impressive throughout the whole way. Bilal had good striking, which a lot of people didn't expect. But I think Jack was just too good. Like grappling wise, his defense was amazing, and on stand up, he was just untouchable. He just looked
Bro,
untouchable.
yeah, and normally he throws. You see the difference in the stance and the way he was actually fighting this fight. So normally when Jack is fighting the strikers, he's throwing a lot of combinations. Like if you watch his previous fights against, let's say, Kevin Holland, even against Gilbert
Yeah.
Burns, he was getting taken down in that fight, but he was throwing a lot of combinations. But in this fight, you will see in the first two rounds, he was trying to be in the center and he wasn't overcommitting to the combinations.
Mm,
So he would throw the combinations sometimes, but mostly he would throw like one or two punches because he
mm,
knows every time he's throwing a combination, you're susceptible to getting taken down. And then
yeah.
in the fourth round and fifth round, where he was actually kind of putting more pace on, that's when he started throwing like really started hurting Bilal. But Jack,
Yeah.
man, boxing wise, I'm telling you, Jack Della Maddalena is the best boxer in the welterweight division. There's no one better than
Yeah.
him.
Even after that fight, on Instagram, I was getting his footage from before he was in UFC, his amateur fights. Dude,
Yeah,
even there, he had hands. He actually had hands. I was impressed.
his hands are so
His
good. He hits
striking has
so hard.
always been there. His striking has always been there.
It's always been there. He hits pretty hard. Like he drops people.
Yeah.
Did you see how he
Yeah,
beat Gilbert Burns?
yeah. I was pretty surprised Bilal didn't get he didn't get knocked down or something, like
Bro,
he
have you
was
seen the
taking
size of his
shots. Yeah.
have you seen the size of his head, dude? That dude's got like a head of a gorilla. He's not getting knocked out by anyone.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he
crazy.
was pretty hard in the last round. You could see if there were like, I would say like 40 more seconds, 50 more seconds, Jack could have probably knocked him out. Like he was pretty
Yeah,
hard at the end. And one thing I would say,
yeah.
man, the grappling of Jack Della, I'd say credit goes to Craig Jones. This guy prepared Volkanovski for Islam in the
Oh
first
yeah,
fight.
I want to talk about him as well. This guy
Bro,
is just incredible. This
I'm
guy,
telling you, dude, this guy,
yep,
because he's kind of unorthodox. Even if you watch like Craig Jones' tutorial, like the way he's actually competing, even in like the competitions that he's doing, he's pretty unorthodox. So I
yeah,
think he cracked the code of like Dagestan. I know Bilal is not from Dagestan, but he's taken tips from like Khabib and Islam. There are things that he actually
yep,
takes from their camp. But Craig Jones has kind of cracked the code of like Dagestan wrestling, how to get out from that. He was pretty
yeah,
successful in that.
yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about Craig Jones because what do you call it? When he prepared Volkanovski and what do you call it for the first fight against Islam Makhachev, bro, Volkanovski did amazing. And now Jack against Bilal, like Bilal, do you know Bilal? His wrestling is great. Like what he did
Yep.
against Leon Edwards, like that was crazy pace. And Leon was good. Like I would say, he was a good grappler. Like he taken down Kobe a couple of times in that fight. I know Kobe wasn't at his best, but still, you can't
Yeah.
deny his wrestling still. And even against Usman, Leon versus Usman, he was still doing good grappling wise as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for Jack to defend majority of Bilal's takedown is pretty impressive. I think it was only one takedown that you can count is like when he grabbed his
Yeah.
back. He shot for the double leg and then he grabbed his back.
And his grappling, bro, not just his wrestling defense, but overall grappling and the scrambles that he does. It's so underrated. Like if you watch his fight against Gilbert Burns was able to take him down, but he couldn't fully control him. There was a time when Gilbert
Yeah.
Burns had him for like a while, but Jack just in the last round, Gilbert Burns I think took him down twice, and Jack just got back up. He's
Mm,
just so the scrambles are so good. Even against Bilal, like in the last
he's
round, right
good,
when
yeah.
Bilal was taking him down, he was doing like
Yep.
butterfly sweep, and he just got back up. So he knows how to like do that thingy. I think this is just training with Craig Jones because he's been doing it for a while. So these guys
Yep.
just know how to like get out of certain situations. Uh, so yeah, man, Jack Della Maddalena, he's going to be a very hard guy to beat, and I know a lot of people actually looking at Islam Makhachev as the next opponent because Islam actually posted right after that he's going to be moving to welterweight, and Jack keep
Mhm.
my belt clean. So I I
Yep.
would say it's a hard fight. It's not an easy fight for Islam. Like I predicted Islam, and I still think Islam because Islam is a better fighter than Jack overall. I still think he's going to be able to beat him. But if you look at the stats, like Jack is definitely going to be a bigger guy than Islam Makhachev. He definitely hits harder than
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev. We don't know how Islam's power is actually going to translate to welterweight. Is he going to be able to like overpower those guys as well? Because Islam is mostly the strongest guy in the cage when he's fighting.
Yep.
So we're going to have to look at all of those things. One thing I would say that Islam is going to have much better control than Bilal Muhammad, as in like terms of when they're actually down. Islam is, I know he's better than that, and Islam is pretty good at actually catching people when they're transitioning. So we know that Jack is pretty good at like scrambling and stuff, right? You can kind of
Mhm.
do this stuff against Bilal because Bilal does not have any submission in the UFC. So the chances of that happening, like Bilal catching you with the submission of guard, are kind of close to zero. But Islam
Mhm.
is pretty quick at like when you're scrambling to actually go for the submissions. So I think the threat of the submission is going to be there with Islam.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about that as well. I think like with Jack, I think I know his defense is good, but he can't give away his neck to Islam because if he gets that darts or necktie, whatever he Islam does, bro, yeah, there's no
Yeah.
escaping. So he just has to be careful. And I do believe Craig Jones, those guys are gonna prepare much better this time, because they have studied Islam over all of his fights, so they know his threats and where he's strong and where he's weak at. So let's see. I think Jack versus Islam is a pretty interesting fight as well. I know Ilya versus Islam is like huge, but Jack versus Islam is
Yeah.
like up there as well. I think, like comparativeness wise, it's pretty good matchup, dude.
It is very competitive. By the way, are you happy with the whole situation, or did you want to see Ili and Islam? You think everything is kind of messed up now?
I think I like it. I like the matchup. I think Islam fights Jack, and in the meanwhile, Ilya fights Charles, and then if Islam gets his belt from welterweight, he comes down and defends lightweight. Oh,
Bro, do you
but
think?
yeah,
I feel like that's happened for the best. I think we can have like the whole
yeah,
situation will come to fruition if that happens. Because look, if Islam beats Jack Della, people are already putting Islam Makhachev as the pound for pound number one fighter, right?
yep,
Not many people would deny that. Most of the people agree to this fact. But they still have John Jones as the greatest fighter of all time. They would still consider Jones the GOAT, right? But if Islam
yeah,
moves to welterweight and he actually beats Jack Della, and let's say he beats him in like an emphatic fashion, let's say just submits him in the second or the third round, people are just going to put him in the conversation, like the gold conversation. They're going to be saying,
Yep,
oh, he's
yep,
defended the title that many times and now he's won the welterweight championship as well. And then if he comes back, and then in the meantime, Ilya Topuria beats Charles Oliveira and he becomes like the interim lightweight champion of the world. And then this fight will actually sell more because people will say now Ilya is not even an undersized opponent because he's a legit lightweight. He beat the number one contender in lightweight, which is Charles
hmm
Oliveira, one of the best guys. So now you can really, the hype is going to be through the roof. They're
yeah.
actually
The
going to be able
hype
to
is
sell
gonna
that
be
fight
through the roof. Yep, yep.
because they can sell the
It's
fight as
gonna
like
be a
the
mega
winner.
fight. Yep,
It's going to be a mega fight, and they will sell the fight as like the whoever wins this fight is like the best guy in the UFC right now, the best
best guy
fighter.
in the UFC. Yep,
They can say because look at Ilya Toporia's record. Last two fights, Max Holloway, Volkanovski. If he beats Charles Oliveira
yep.
and then he goes on to beat Islam Makhachev, he can have a claim that
It
he's the
will be
best fighter.
insane. Yeah,
That
yep,
would be insane, and Islam can have the same claim. So I think that would be
yeah,
for like the pound for pound spot. So I think it's probably happened for the best. The only thing I'm concerned about is that if Islam actually moves to welterweight, he wins the championship. Would he actually want to cut that much more weight? Because we know that he is already struggling with cutting weight. He had difficult weight
yeah,
cuts in the past.
yeah. He's big for lightweight. Yeah, Islam
He's
is big
big
for
for life.
lightweight.
And once you actually move to a higher weight, once you actually make 170, would you actually want to come back? Because we have not seen that happening with a lot of fighters to
Yeah,
come back to their previous division.
yep. That's the thing. I also think that it's gonna be tough for him. Once he makes that welterweight, I don't know if he's gonna be that committed to come down because it's pretty tough to cut that weight.
Yeah. And I think Islam would have a lot of contenders waiting in the welterweight division as well. So he might just take a different route. But I don't know why he's keeping the belt. So why he's holding on to the belt. It could be that he wants to be a double champ. So he wants to have two belts at the same time. And when he wins the
And
welterweight
I think he
championship,
wants to defend both because that's never been
I
done
think
by
that's
double
not
champ.
gonna.
Has it, right? It's not been done.
Two titles have not actually been defended simultaneously by the double champ. That's never actually happened.
Yeah,
But is he gonna be able to do it? The thing is, Islam only fights like twice a year, right? So in terms
yeah,
of activity, his activity is okay, but it's not like the highest. It's not like Pereira activity where it's fighting like three times or four times a year, right?
yeah,
So with fighting two times a year, it means you're defending a belt only one time a year. So
yeah,
I don't know how good that is for the divisions to actually hold them up like this.
yeah. But not gonna lie, I know Ilya and Islam will be next in lightweight as a championship fight. But I do want Arman. I want to see that fight before Islam retires. I don't know what his plans are currently, but I do want him to clear that doubt as well. You know?
Yeah. If Islam Makhachev actually beats Ilya Topuria and Arman Saryukian, then you would say that he has cleared the division because he's beaten the best guys. He's already beaten Charles Oliveira. He's beaten Dustin Poirier. He's
hmm
beaten Moicano Volkanovski twice. So yeah, Arman and Topuria are the only guys. He beat them up, and then I don't think there will be any questions after that.
Yeah, in lightweight there will be nothing left for him there.
There'll be nothing left after that,
Yeah.
bro. But if you look at the potential matchups in like welterweight division, right?
hmm
There's just so many guys. Like we believe that Islam is going to be getting the next title shot because UFC basically was holding the matchup between Ili and Islam based on this fight between Bilal and Jack Della, which makes me think that it's kind of confirmed that Islam is going to be fighting for the title. But
Yes.
who do you
Yes.
think
Yeah.
is going to be the next in line? Because there's so many names. Shafkat said that he's not going to be able to fight by the end of the year, so he will be ready by 2026. Then you have Sean Brady, who beat
Yep.
Leon Edwards in a very dominant fashion. So he's ready for the title
Yeah.
fight. Then you had Ian Gary, who is only on a one fight winning streak, but he's been calling to fight for the next title shot. And then you have
Yeah.
Joaquin Buckley is fighting Usman, yeah, Kamaru Usman. And the winner of this fight might also claim a title shot because Joaquin Buckley is actually on a five-fight winning streak in the
Yeah.
welterweight division. You have so many names. I think welterweight is the best ever that it's ever been so far.
Yeah. I think so far right now it's like the most the most contenders that can get the title show right now.
Exactly, and very fresh contenders. Like you have guys like Ian Gary, Sean Brady,
Yeah,
who've only got
Ian
like
Gary,
one
Sean
loss.
Brady,
Joaquin
Shafkat as
Buckley,
well.
young guys, and Shafkat undefeated. So you have a lot of guys who didn't have like a title experience, but they're very fresh guys. So I think Dana would actually love to put them in the title fights. And some of the guys, I would say, Ian Gary can actually sell, man. I
Yep.
gotta give it to Ian Gary. Like,
By the way, could you imagine like Islam? Okay, gets the welterweight belts, comes down, defends lightweight, then defends welterweight, and then what you call it? He just vacates both of the belt and gets a middleweight belt as well. That would be insane.
okay,
That would be insane.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, right?
Because
Islam
he
against
can make
Jack.
middleweight.
He
He can
can
make
make
middleweight.
middleweight. He can make middleweight. Actually, Ali said that Islam can take down anyone from 155 to 185, so that's not going to be a
Yeah.
problem for him. But if you actually look at the matchup, 170, if you look at the matchups of 170, I think Islam Makhachev is skill wise the best fighter in the lightweight and the welterweight division. I think he can beat those guys because I don't think the size discrepancy is going to be way too much. Like
Yep.
these welterweights might be a bit strong, might be a bit bigger, might be a bit stronger, but I think Islam is going to be the skill is going to
Islam
take over
should
the
manage. Yeah. Yeah.
should manage. But when I look at the middleweights, you got Drakus Duplessis, you got Hamza Shamaev is going to be champ.
Yeah.
If
Those
he
guys are
beats it,
big.
bro,
Yep.
I don't see that happen. Like he can, okay, he can
Yeah.
go fight them. He can probably give them a bit of competitive fight. I don't think he's beating those guys.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
I don't think
way
so.
too
He
much.
beats Kazman Chimaev, but I don't
Yeah,
think he missed Drakus as well. Drakus is huge, and he's
Drakus is
pretty
huge, bro.
funky with his striking and everything.
He's pretty funky with the striking. He's going to hit. The power is going to be different. The strength, like taking down those
Yeah.
guys, and you're going to be managed to actually keep them on the ground. It's going to be very hard to beat Ricketts and Hamzat for him.
Yeah. It's just like a fun matchup. That I think about. If he gets 3 belts, that would be incredible.
I think that will be that will be incredible. Maybe if he gets like a good stylistic matchup. Let's say they put
Yeah,
like a
good
pure
stylistic
striker.
matchup.
Who at 145 can he beat? If Israel Adesanya becomes the champion again,
Oh
I
yeah,
can
he
see
will beat
Islam
him.
beating
He would
Izzy. I
beat
think
him.
that could be a matchup that he could actually win.
Yeah. But weren't Islam was talking about moving up to middleweight when Dracus Duplessis was a champion?
Oh,
So I'm
he
pretty
was
sure
talking
at
about
that
it.
time he is confident about beating him.
He was
Because
confident
otherwise
about
he wouldn't
moving
even
to.
talk about it. If he knows, okay, he's the current champion and I can't beat him, then why would I talk about him? Why would I talk about that division? Right?
Yeah, I don't. He was talking about it. He was actually pretty confident about it. I don't know, man. I don't know if it was a way to actually sell himself
Yeah.
as like a guy who is just really good as a confident guy, or I don't know if he actually believes that he can beat him. It could be he has
Mm-hmm.
done like rounds with Luke Rockhold. He's been able to do very good, but sparring is a little bit different from actual fighting. So I don't know how much he's going to be able to hold up. But again, the thing is, we want to see Islam Makhachev at welterweight. If I see Islam fighting the guys like Jack Della, and then later maybe
Yeah.
defending the welterweight title against some of the guys who are like high level, and then just completely dominating them. Let's say Islam
Then
beat
yeah.
Jack
Then
Dalla, right? And then Kamaru Usman beats Joaquin Buckley, and they award Kamaru Usman the next title shot. And Islam and Kamaru have a fight, and Islam dominates him. So we're seeing
mm-hmm.
Islam against the middleweight. And then I can say, okay, he can actually manage to do that. But I think we're gonna
Yeah.
have to see mid welterweight to be able to see how he compares against those guys first.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be the best for him as well.
Yeah. Okay. And so lightweight, we're gonna have Ilya Taporia versus Charles Oliveira.
Charles
Many
and
people were
who's
saying that
Armin fighting in the meanwhile? Do you know?
I'm not really sure. I don't think they've made the fight for Arman Sarikin. I don't.
I swear that he was offered like a rematch fight. Was it against Gamrot or was it somebody else and he just declined it? Apparently he wasn't
I don't
interested.
know. I think they wanted to make him versus Gamrot. I don't know if he's declined the fight or not, but they were gonna do this. Arman versus
Mm-hmm.
Gamrot too. Nobody wants to see that fight again. Gamrot is like at the later stage of his career. He's probably like 38, 39 years old. Don't take anything away from Gamrot. Amazing fighter. But if Arman
Mm-hmm.
beats him, he doesn't get a lot out of it. I think Arman can beat him. I think last fight was pretty close. I feel like Arman actually won the last fight that they had.
Mm-hmm.
It was a close decision to Gamrot that he won. And
Yep.
I mean, they can if they make this as like a number one contender fight, then I would say okay, Arman should probably take that fight. But otherwise, I don't think there's much in for Arman in this one. I think instead of that, if they make Arman Sarikin versus Justin Gaethje, he can
Yeah.
get a lot out of this fight because Gaethje is just a big star, right? You have a fresh, different matchup, the guy that you've not faced before, who's also
Yeah.
a guy who's coming up after a victory, and then who's also a guy who's known to be like one of the biggest UFC stars. So you make that happen, or you give him Dustin Poirier, or is Dustin Poirier already booked with Max Holloway?
I think, yeah, I heard something
I
about
think,
him and Max Holloway.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's finalized. So if he's, yeah, Dustin Poirier, maybe Max Holloway, because he's a legend. He probably needs a guy with he needs a legacy fight. So maybe let him fight Max Holloway. But I think Dustin
yeah,
Poirier versus Arman Sarik, Justin Gaethje versus Arman Sarikin would make a lot of sense.
yeah. And by the way, for Dustin, is his last fight, right? He made it clear.
He made it clear in 2 months he's going to be fighting an international fight week. It's going to be his last fight, and he wants it to be against a legend. Max Holloway is the guy who faced just Dustin Poirier as his first fight in UFC, and
Mm-hmm.
then they also faced another time for the lightweight championship when Max Holloway was the featherweight
Yeah.
champion, and Dustin Poirier was the interim. That was for the interim lightweight championship that they fought.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Fair enough.
I
Yeah,
think it would
not
be a pretty
bad.
interesting fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, one thing I would say about the fight that happened on like 315
Mm-hmm.
um, between Jack and Bilal, I would say his
Yeah.
stance, he was the way he actually opened the fight. Look at his stance. He was trying to keep low. He was doing the body jabs. So he knows because he's fighting a wrestler, he's not fighting the same fight. He's very aware of the threat of the takedown.
Yeah, yeah. Even I saw like when he was jabbing a lot of the time, he
Yeah.
was like kind of low down, go low and then come up, jab
He
again, low and
started
then come up.
he started with it,
Yeah,
and people actually say that Bilal was not shooting the takedowns because that was like an ego issue, and Bilal wanted to prove that he had Canelo hands. So he fell in love with the
yeah,
striking. Maybe it was a bit of that, but also Jack is not an easy guy to handle because he's keeping his stance low and he's trying to keep a distance. So he's fighting at a distance, so it's not easy to shoot takedowns from that distance. And I would say one more thing: when you're fighting a wrestler, you want to pressure the wrestler backward.
yeah.
But if the wrestler is able to pressure you, they're going to be able to press you to the cage, or even if they're
Mm-hmm.
not able to press you to the cage, they will be able to see an opportunity to actually take you down. It's much easier for them. It's when you're
Yeah,
fighting a wrestler, you should be able to actually pressure them back. You want to control the center, and that's what Jack Della was able to do. They executed the game plan in the best way possible. If you watch Leon versus Jack Della, and that was my assessment before the fight. When I watched
mm-hmm.
Leon versus Jack Della back, Leon versus Bilal back, sorry. Bilal was
Yep.
pressuring Leon throughout the whole fight. Leon's output is very low. He's a counter striker. He lets you pressure him. If you watch Leon versus Kamaru Usman 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
Kamaru Usman was pressuring him throughout the whole fight. Throughout the
Yeah.
whole fight, he was pressing him against the cage. Even the second fight that he won, I'm not going to say it's a fluke. It was a beautiful head kick setup that he did. But until the
Mm-hmm.
fifth round, he was actually getting beat up. He was getting taken down repeatedly. He was even getting outstruck because he wasn't throwing a lot of punches. So that's what happened
Yeah.
against Bilal. Leon is the guy who thinks a lot during the fight, right? He's an amazing striker. But
Yeah.
when he's a wrestler, it's easy to press him against the cage when he's fighting a wrestler.
Yeah.
With Jack,
That's
he's
true.
mostly a pressure fighter. You would see him in any sort of fight setting that he is, whoever is fighting, he's the one actually
Mm-hmm.
pressing the action. He throws a lot of punches. He doesn't throw like 1 or 2 shots. He mostly throws the combinations. And he's also going
Yeah.
to the body, right? Leon doesn't go to the
Mm-hmm.
body. He goes to the body with like that body kicks. But normally
Yeah.
he's like a straight puncher. That's what he does.
Yeah. He's a straight
So
puncher normally.
I kind of predicted. I knew that was going to play a part. Like with Bilal, the stylistic matchup is going to be difficult. Also, I knew Leon was going to be easy to take down because his legs are long, right? So when your legs
Yeah.
are long, it takes you time to actually come down to actually defend the takedown. So sprawl or to even pull the opponents, get the underhooks, all of this. With Jack
Yep.
Della, I knew he was a bit shorter. So Jack and Bilal are almost the same height. They're both 5'11". So I was like, Jack is going to keep a very low level, first of all. He's not as
Mm-hmm.
tall as Leon. So it's going to take him less time to actually defend the takedowns. And
Yeah.
that's what he did. Executed the game plan perfectly, and he got a new champ.
Yep. That's the history.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, fun
All right,
matchup ahead. Let's see what Dana says. What
let's see
news
what he
comes
says,
out.
and
Yep.
we'll definitely be looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Take care of
All
yourself.
right, bro. Take care.
Bye-bye.